ABBA, Agape. Part 2. January 20th, 2019. Testimonials, questions and answers. Beloved ABBAs, we reinstall ourselves in the heart of the heart, where the evidence of smiling and laughing takes us into the ultimate truth of naked love. Celebration Agape. Silence. As you have expressed, felt and perceived, laughter is the hallmark of love. From the moment you have accepted the totality of what is present and presents itself to you, all that results is a smile and laughter, that of love found and celebrated. This happens now, and it happens from moment to moment for everyone, with the same intensity and veracity, showing us, through proof and laughter, that there is only one consciousness and that there is only one life. So, in this true state, we will continue this celebration. Beloved, who among you, in this assembly, wishes to question, testify or interrogate? So you have your word and word at your disposal. In whatever word and expression you use, as you have seen, and even within silence, the consequence is inevitable. The installation of the white paradise, by its essence and perfume, reveals you and washes your dresses in the white paradise. Thus, you call yourself to your own restitution, where nothing but laughter is necessary or even useful. This is the truth of a confounding simplicity, leading you to this freedom of being from non-being, where no barrier can stand between hearts, singing in unison the song of resurrection. The evidence of Agape transports you to joy, and each word carries the word, even if these words may seem inappropriate to you or reflect some anger or misunderstanding. Laughter puts an end to all this. The same is true for everyone. Whether he has recognized or seen it, or experienced it, or whether it is still unknown, makes no difference. The ineluctability of the light, of love, is becoming more and more concrete, as the night of this world descends, putting an end to what was passing, so that nothing can ever happen again and everything remains in beatitude and supreme peace, where nothing is lacking, whatever the deprivations of this world or whatever its abundance is. Love laughs at this, so you smile at the ineffable joy of truth, the ineffable joy of freedom. So celebration, in the silence of your words. Agape and peace in everyone. Agape in each element, leading to the primordial ether of the perpetual celebration of life, in every creative experience, having accompanied the exuberance of the Absolute in his manifestation of love, surpassing and revealing all appearance, putting an end to suffering as well as to ignorance. And it is lived, and it is. Who wants to question or testify? And if, however, you remain in silence, then I will continue to leave the words, accompanied by the word, to coat and penetrate your presence, so that the dance may be smiling, so that the dance may show you the roundness of love, so that the dance may become light and become harmony. It is in this communion and harmony that this celebration takes place on this day. The fusion in the primordial ether puts an end to any frame as well as to any reference point, because love does not need a reference point, because joy does not need a cause, an object or a subject. Thus the intelligence of the light is freely established, a Christic resonance, abolishing the ultimate privileges of predation that had only a short time. Laughter puts an end to predation, laughter puts an end to power, laughter puts an end to illusion, for no laughter can be lost in the truth of love. That is now. The perpetual celebration of love and joy will fill every part of you with what is seen, experienced, felt and perceived, and even within the absence of perception, within what you might call the absence of experience or the impression of not being there, will lift you up with the laughter that you are there and that you have always been there. Silence. Then time surrenders to your intensity and silence, transcending time, ending distance, and ending what has never actually begun and will never end. This is the only truth, it is absolute, it is irremediable, and it is permanent at the same time as the impermanence of the infinite, as of all finite, and present. My words are there only to support the word, see no meaning or direction in it, because they go in all directions. There is no periphery or center, because it is one. Sister, I would like to. So, beloved, I am listening to you. Sister, so what I would like to say is that I feel a great change in perception and experience. Before, I perceived, but today, I'm in this perception. You yourself become the perception, of course, beyond the person. Same sister, and there is really a space that was inaccessible to me, maybe I thought, and that opens up. This ends the framework. You translate into these words the fusion of the thes, the meeting of the four elements in the same dance. The head joined the heart joined the head, to perform the miracle of only one thing. The lumnisate in its infinite form unfolds laughter and unfolds this new lucidity, this new clarity where simply there is nothing to see, but rather to live. It seems new, it seems unheard of or paradoxical. And this is only the simple truth of love, where there is no longer any reluctance, where there is no longer any habit, where there is no longer any reference, no point of support, because love needs no support, even if there are countless supports for manifestation, within words, within silence, within the creation of whatever nature it may be. You have obviously joined what was called the ultimate presence or Shantinalaya, and this ultimate presence itself is not fooled by what it really is. Then it opens up to the infinite space where no limits or meanings can be chosen. For love cannot be a choice, it is an unconditional surrender of any personal will as well as any will of any form or dimension whatsoever. And what you express, is only what emerges in the appearance and manifestation of the solidity of the inner temple. Thus, where there is no sense or direction, where there are no more questions or answers other than laughter, then you are the way, the truth and the life, because you have welcomed your child, as you have let all the children come to you. Then, not only are you and your Father one and you see that there is only one, what you really are, in every manifestation as in every world, allowing you to connect and free this natural relation of father to son, by the binder of mother, by the binder of love which is only the resonance of freedom. Yes, then, there is indeed an apparent paradox, discovery and stupor, without any apprehension and without any doubt. The truth is firmly established, it does not depend on any world or present form. And this, indeed, as the peoples of the sea have made you experience, there is a form of immensity that has no beginning, no end, no counting or discounting, no privileged space, no dimension from which it can be absent. And it allows you, and it allows us, on a planetary level as well as on the level of all that is created, to reach this naked truth. As you say, is it really a perception or is it precisely the cessation of perception, which allows within emptiness, to discover the ultimate truth, the absolute truth, what we are? Despite the presence and persistence of this form, everything is accomplished and everything is realized, from everywhere. The celebration is not only about incarnate earthly humanity, but it is about all planes as well as all kingdoms of this earth, down to the smallest atom present in any creation. Freedom is restored, spontaneity strengthens you in the path of childhood, in the path of simplicity, humility, and, above all, transparency that naturally lets you to no longer put barriers, no longer put masks, to remove all false pretensions from all conventions of each world, where no hierarchy can exist, where everything is the same love, the same consciousness, in whatever form, in whatever appearance of individuality it is. Laughter lightens, laughter reveals, laughter consumes. And your heart smiles at the truth of life, and your heart is set on fire by this unquenchable thirst that will never be quenched. From the water of life, the fusion of the waters from above and from below recreates the primordial water, that of the first inspiration and the first manifestation. As has been said, you have traveled from Alpha to Omega, you joined the Alpha and Omega that joined themselves in the same dance, where concepts and explanations no longer have meaning, because love is meaning, because laughter is the translation and the answer. Well, that's it, that's exactly what you're going through. It is in this that you serve the song of life, that you serve the dance of truth, not in any objective or work to be done, because service is natural. Because he who cannot yet love in totality, the circumstances of his life or certain elements that have affected or have caused suffering to burst, your joy is naturally reborn and comes to fill the apparent spaces lacking in light, and it comes to nourish what seemed poorly irrigated, who was suffering in resistance. You will also notice that during these celebrations, which will be repeated as soon as you're available and independently of any appointment, as soon as you enter the truth penetrates you, the truth emanates from you, without distinction and without particularism of any kind. Then, you notice it, whatever the apparent hardnesses of your life, you have become life, against all odds, and it can no longer be released. As I have said countless times, the inexorable and the impossible has become the possible and the everyday. That's what you expressed, something that's so vast, something has moved, something has awakened, something is burning. It is the song of joy, it is the smile of love, and it is the laughter of paradox. That's how you see that all the chains have been broken. Freedom no longer frightens you, the unknown is made known, and the living, then there is no more obstacle. Love is abundant, in you, laughter is to satiety, in you. This is how you consume the last illusions of distance, the last illusions of the passing of time. This is how the wide paradise becomes aware, and this is how you are actors and stakeholders of the event, without action, and without will. Because you can only give what you have accepted, because the more you give, the more you receive. And you can see it, and you will see it more and more easily, if you are spontaneous, if you respond to any request, of whatever nature, then the abundance of love will put an end to the privations lived in this world. Everything else doesn't need you. It is an invitation to perpetual celebration, it is an invitation to perpetual agape, it is an invitation to dare to be totally the truth, despite all appearances, despite all suffering and despite all questions. You're the answer, and we are the answer, to the challenge of this world. This is how you are the servants of love, this is how you are the servants of each brother and sister you meet, because you have given yourself, and by giving yourself to each other, the agape resonance emanates from each one. Fear can no longer exist, even within archaic reflexes. You are liberated from the world, you are liberated from form, you are liberated from any constraint, and also, as I said, from any frame of reference. Silence. Beloved, we are listening to you. Who wishes to express this vastness, this immensity that is being born at this moment? Do not be afraid of your words, they are only the rhythm of the dance of love. There is no word more accurate than another, because you are going through what is called the understanding of the words spoken. The language no longer separates, because it carries the word. Language never lies, whatever the words used, because the one who embraces is no longer in the thought and understanding of words, but of what is modulated by the pronunciation of your words. This is much more than an understanding related to the intellect, but you welcome it into your heart. You do not need to understand every word or phrase here either, but simply to welcome it. This is possible in another language, as we had the example in part 1. Words are heard, even if they are not understood. In the same way that laughter is the manifestation of love, every time you express, even something banal or apparently insignificant, these words will bring love to the heart of the other. Even when you go to the store to buy your daily bread, laughter, a smile and a bright look will replace all understanding. It is, in a way, an emerging form of telepathy, or if you prefer direct communication, from the heart of one to the heart of the other, where one becomes the other and the other becomes the one, so that, as I said, there is no difference. That constantly ends the illusion of distance, or the illusion of having understood. The word itself is only the support of love. And even if you express the opposite, through your resistance, everything is only a pretext for revealing love. There is no other alternative, there is no other possibility. In the end, whatever game you play, within the character, within society, within any relationship, all this is called for to be literally transformed, because freedom prevails, because the heart prevails over understanding, because the heart prevails over any explanation. You will check it at every opportunity, as soon as you are available, not for understanding, but available to be as well as for non-being. This is how the wide paradise unfolds individually and collectively. The elementary conditions of the earth, through their manifestations, whether earthquakes, volcano fires, fires of human societal structures, whether by water, wind or water, everything is but conjugation and reunion within the ether, despite all appearance and paradox. Love can only emerge, love can only be experienced, whatever you say, whatever you think. Love has no use for your words, love has no use for your thoughts, love has no use for this form, love has no use for creation. Since this love has been present since time immemorial, as in any dimension. Even in this world, the oblivion that once covered the light is reduced and disappears. It is up to you, in all your gestures, in all your actions, inside and outside, to let this fluidity of evidence take hold. You can only see it, you can only live it, whatever your starting position. Nothing can hold up against that, no spiritual notion, no notion of consciousness. The truth is really naked, love is really naked, and consciousness is really naked. Silence. Who wants to express? Voice. A sister is approaching. Sister, in Portuguese, an evidence of love. Yesterday. I can't hear you. Voice, a little louder. Sister, in Portuguese, an evidence of love. So, I'm listening. Sister, in Portuguese, yesterday, while we were waiting for the boat, I passed by a fisherman. We exchanged a look and I laughed. When I returned to the starting point, the fisherman was not that far away, and when I met him, he looked at me and said, in Spanish, "Hello, how are you?" And I smiled a little more, I answered to. This evidence of not knowing anyone and a feeling that you have to speak, that you have to touch, either with a smile, or with a verbalization, with words, "Thank you. Thank you." Beloved, in this assembly you have heard words in a language that is unknown to you. Which of you can say, since it is not understandable to you, what he has heard and what he has manifested in him? You crossed the Tower of Babel, where language can no longer divide you. What did you perceive in these words? Silence. Silence reigns. Sister, I perceived. The other is me. As soon as the language barrier is not seen as a handicap, but as an embrace, as you say, there is no more distance. And perceiving the other in oneself, precisely when words are not decoded, gives you direct access to the other in you. It is what ends distance, it is what ends frameworks and barriers, it is what ends the appearance of division and misunderstanding. You can only witness it. Sometimes this can be expressed by colors. In this case, the frequency that has been emitted corresponds to the blue, pink and violet color, and that is enough. There is no need to nourish the mind, nor understanding, but to nourish the heart, and to recognize oneself in these words that speak and that cannot be captured by the head, but only integrated into the heart. And this will take on all its importance, showing you the uselessness of understanding, but rather the indispensability of living it. Silence. Let's continue. Silence. The Agape celebration that we are living, as you can see, can be done in total silence. This is lived in this space as in any space on earth, even to heaven. It is happening right now. It will of course continue, it will not stop. Despite the apparent fluctuations, despite the inconveniences for some still, expressed in many ways, you notice that you will no longer be able to question yourself about any origin unrelated to the light, and you will then agree, in totality and through misunderstanding, or the need for explanation, to the truth of Agape. This means that even your current misunderstandings are unconscious resistances that allow you to live the truth. Laughter is the only answer. And often, Moreover, you see it in countless ways. A question can arise, a desire for understanding can appear, and the simple fact of asking yourself the question can only make you realize that the answer is you, not only in you, but you're the answer. You're both the transmitter and the receiver, you're both the arrow and the target hit, because there is precisely the abolition of distance and the abolition of time, whatever the course of time, in the events of life, of your life, of this world. The state that I could call completeness, reveals itself with more and more certainty, with more and more clarity. And you will easily notice it, whatever the inner questioning or the inner interrogation, if you put it back in the present moment, in here and now, then you can only reach the same conclusion, that all the answers and all the questions are only the game and the walls of love, breaking down the barriers between the inside and the outside. Because the freedom of laughter knows neither the inside nor the outside. This puts an end to all distance and separation. This is a celebration. ABBA Agape. You're full, nothing can be missing. It simply remains for you to enjoy this on this earth, where life transports you both to the heart of the heart, but in the circumstances that allow you to accomplish the truth, you are certain of it, and it will be stronger and stronger, whatever the misunderstanding or whatever the reason. Because love has no reason either. You really and concretely become, even beyond abyss, you become agape, without subject, without object and without person. There is no longer any more in each other, there is neither. There is only life. This has always been said and stated, but now it is concrete because it is lived. And whatever the translation or expression, you end up with that. Then, life invites you to life, in whatever circumstances of your life, in whatever place you stand, in whatever time is passing. And now you're full. And you can't not see it. It is an invitation for each of you who could still feel incomplete or amputated of anything, to discover that it is not so and that it was only your character, your adherence to the mask, to society, to the bonds, that deprived you of this understanding that goes without words, this understanding that does not go through the head, but directly through the experience. As I have had the opportunity to say, live it, you will understand after that you have nothing to understand, that you have nothing to grasp, and that love is this total gift, and that you can only give yourself, and that you can only give. Because the gift is love, and because it is impossible to do otherwise. That's how everything is solved. This is how fluidity in these troubled times manifests itself in you and for you, as soon as you accept and welcome it. You don't need any precedent, you don't need any support, you don't need any reference. Simply be alive, because you are no longer concerned with death, whatever the short-term future of this body, you live that you are neither this body nor this world, and that you are simply settled on this world, but that definitively, even in the ultimate attachments to Gaia, you're only passing through. But life never passes. In this, in what you have said and what you are experiencing, even without being able to express it clearly yet or define it clearly, because it cannot be defined clearly, but it is very clear, it does not require words, it can do without perception, vision, but nevertheless, it remains. Welcome to Agape. Welcome to your home. This is the celebration. It is no longer simply a question of marriage, like those that have been lived during all these years, but simply, I repeat, the dance of the evidence of love, the perpetual laughter, where everything that might seem problematic is only an opportunity for love and no longer a problem to be solved. That's how you cross over. And the more you accept this mechanism of life, the more you are life, and the less you are subject to your life, in opulence as well as in deprivation. This ultimately represents nothing, if not for the person, but not for who you are, and that, as has always been said, you are very exactly in the very precise place that is the one you must hold, without holding on to it, to live agape, neither a state that arises at times, even more in time than abyss. Indeed, after each other, there is neither one nor the other. You're in between, so there is neither one nor the other, and indeed, there is only love, and love is everything. Being effectively joins non-being, in an increasingly lucid and coherent way, despite the inconsistencies of your life. And it is this coherence that gives this cohesion and freedom, lived first in each other, from one to the other, and now without a person. How do you want to be affected by some suffering of your body as well as some suffering of your world? It had been said to always respect your temple and to take care of it, but the totality of love, the totality of Agape, makes it possible to lighten the need to take care of your life, of your body. Because the light takes over, and because you are the one who takes over, you're the light. You're the light of this world, you're the light of the worlds, which ends the worlds. It is happening on this earth, it is happening now, through the flesh. The flesh is no longer an obstacle. The rules of society or of this world, called action-reaction, cannot prevent or slow down the state of grace that definitively puts an end to action-reaction, as in the world. There is laughter, because you know, by living it, that you are Agape and that there is no need for any people or any manifestation. You're at home, beyond the form, you're at home, beyond any dwelling. Certainly, there are countless dwellings in the Father's house, but you do not need any dwelling, for you dwell in all the dwellings at the same time. You are from everywhere, in the wind that blows, in the fire that burns, in the volcanoes. You are from everywhere because you're present yourself. You are nowhere at the same time and it does not create any trouble, and this is the balm, the only one that will work and work. You experience it or you will. Whatever resistances may still manifest themselves, through bodily or conscious perceptions, what you call fluctuations, even these fluctuations and resistances, which may still be present today, can no longer be maintained. You are none of those things, but you're there. Love takes up all the space, all the time, it has been stated to you for many months now, but it is lived fully today. And you find in yourself the mechanisms that make it possible to identify the different possible points of view, the point of view of the person, the point of view of energy, the point of view of vibration, the point of view of the other, but all these points of view, apparently different, are only the same view, still veiled. All separation is abolished. This is incomprehensible, but it is lived. Joy is neither explanation nor an understanding. Joy has no need to make hypotheses, assumptions or questions. The joy of Agape no longer depends on you and no one else. It is a process that is not only inexorable and automatic, but also increasingly easy to implement, as soon as you release what you hold, as soon as you release what you think you hold, when you have given yourself. And this is the direct practice within this world itself, in all circumstances of your life. Because the more you give, the more you receive. And what you give to one is also received by the other, and also by you. For there is neither one nor the other, nor you, in the end. End of the masquerade, end of the simulacrum. The sacred covers everything. So have no qualms about living what life offers you, because there is no moral rule, no convention and no law that can stop it, and you know it. We must dare to say love, even through silence. We must no longer curb or hide anything, we must no longer hide anything. But it is not a decision on your part, it is an observation, linked to the presence of Agape. Then, the celebration is strengthened, in this moment as in every moment that will pass. This is the ineffable beauty of love. That is the only truth and it is now. You have understood that whatever apparently violent and brutal unfolding, at this very moment, in your body or elsewhere, everywhere in the world, is only the realization of the oath and the promise of return to eternity, and that in the end, everything is only a pretext to discover it and to live it. You control nothing, you control nothing, you control nothing, because what you think you control controls you, what you think you control controls you, and that is impossible in love. In love, there is no precedence, there is nothing superior and nothing inferior, there is no understanding other than that of the lived. The reason is of no help to you, any notion of evolution or improvement is destroyed by laughter. And even if you oppose it, you can only live it. Because any resistance becomes only a fuel for the igneous fire. And the more you embrace and accept, the more you realize that what seemed to obstruct you before, in the body as in thoughts, or as in the circumstances of your life, is only wind, is only an illusion. No matter what you perceive the moment before, it disappears. All that remains for you to do is to accompany life, where there is nothing to gain or lose, where there is nothing to preserve. Because love has no use for any link whatsoever, because love has no use for obligations, whether legal or moral, because love has no use for what happens. There is no denial in those words, but there is just a real transcendence of what seemed to stand in your way. And since everything is in its place, and especially if you accept it even without understanding the slightest element, then Agape is celebrated. This puts an end to the travesty and restores the sacred. Silence. Beloved, who wants to talk? Silence. So I'll keep going. Voice. I think we have a brother coming. Brother, I come to the microphone. Beloved, speak up. Same brother. I come to the microphone to testify above all to the experience of Agape joy, and that this encounter, this perfectly accidental, unwanted, neither controllable nor measurable revelation, has appeared in the existence of my body, of my person, who is still there. It swallowed the body and the person, and yet, the body and the person are simultaneously present to the joy and laughter that in me, that there, in this body, gushes out loudly and from an often loud and childish laughter, but a laughter that is not programmed, that is not decided. Right now, it's no laughing matter, but when it laughs, laughs. Same brother. It laughs when it wants, freely, accidentally, for no reason. I do not seek it, I do not provoke it, I have no means either to reveal it or to activate it. It is the total freedom of this Agape love, named Agape, completely present and completely loving of all that makes up this remnant of humanity and ephemeral bodies. It is the embracing of this poor vulnerability that is still present and that sometimes brings me to the brink of tears of this very small humanity, and joy is there, even without the laughter that explodes, to carry and love this microscopic little humanity, fragile. And it's simultaneous, it's not one and then the other. And it's irremediable, and it's not possible for someone as a person to escape this accidental revelation that will fall on you, catch you, swallow you. Crazy laughing. Blessed are the crackpot in the sense of love. Crazy laughing. For he lets the light pass through, without holding it back, but on the contrary by simply multiplying it, by being there. And indeed, as you said, even those who are terrified of it right now will laugh and cry in a very short time. How else do you want it to be, as you said, different? We are, together, the way, the truth and the life. We are together the Alpha and the Omega. And in this ensemble, there is no one. Laughter doesn't need you, in a way. Laughs. As you say, this laughter does not depend on you, it is simply expressed through you, but it is not your laughter, it is the laughter of microscopic humanity. Laughs. Very small and yet, as a certain advertisement said, so big and intense. This is the hallmark of man. Laughs. Which combines at the same time smallness and greatness, ridicule and the sacred. Laughs. The simulacrum, it can no longer hold. Laughs. It is time to return all your cardboard swords, all your junk shields, all your illusory protections, all your reassuring habits. Love does not need to be reassured, I reassure you. Laughs. That's right. Dying of laughter is not an empty word. You're on the right track. Laughs. To die of laughter is to die of love, yet love never dies, it is the illusion that dies, the illusion of believing oneself in the midst of a world, the illusion of believing oneself a person, the illusion of believing that there is the other. You have lived in each other, but there is no one there. And the laughter comes from there, because the laughter belongs to no one. As you say, It springs spontaneously, it does not care about conventions, it does not care about spiritual scams, it does not care about predation, because laughter explodes in the face of the sad lusts of predation. Laughs. We laugh at the puppets, but the puppets will laugh too, even if they cry, for now. They will not be able to resist the scratching of love. Laughs. It is great forgiveness, it is great grace, and it is the humor of life, and it is the exuberance of creation. Laughter consumes, because it is the manifestation of Agape. He who does not laugh cannot be true, he who does not smile is somehow constipated. Laughs. You can't hold anything back, you have to let it go. You have understood it, you live it, you were with the forefront, if you can say so, of revelation, you have accomplished it, so laugh and let others, even those who shout and dedicate you to moaning. Laugh, no one can resist laughter, especially the sad ones, especially those who still believe they need to evolve, when everything is perfect. The mind is perfect, you are perfect. And it is your imperfections that reveal the perfection and uselessness of solving the slightest imperfection. Love takes over. And you will easily see this from the moment you first choose Agape, rather than taking care of yourself from now on. I was saying just a short time ago that you had to take care of the body, of your life, but you can give up your weapons, as I said. The cardboard sword, the junk shield, is of no use to you. Love takes care of everything, you are love. If you do not see it yet, as soon as you meet a brother or sister who is laughing, whatever your anger at not understanding this laughter, whatever your appearance may be surprised, just remember these sentences. Love is laughter, love cannot be sad, love cannot be lacking in nothing, love does not need justification, nor to be justified, nor even understood. To accept this is to live it instantly. It has been said in countless ways, it is something to be experienced, understanding comes after and not before. You just have to understand that, really and concretely. There is no technique, no practice, no time limit and, as I said, no preconditions. Accept it. And you are living it. Silence. Do you have anything to add? Voice. No, he went back to. Over there, it's here. Laughs. Who else would like to testify or say a few words? Remember that you are not doing this for yourself, for me or for the members of the assembly, but for all those who, in resistance or confidence, are about to experience this, even without knowing it. Voice. A sister is coming. Sister, in Portuguese. A sharing. An obvious fact. A few days ago. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it, I think you might have some problems. So we listen with the heart. Sister, in Portuguese. A few days ago, a work issue forced me to adapt to an unforeseen situation, and the best way I had was to embrace before. I embraced. I accepted what I was getting today. And at the end of the day of this work, I found that the work had been done in a very light, harmonious and joyful way. And the work, which was heavy, ceased to be heavy for me on that day, because I had already embraced it. These are obvious facts and I just wanted to share them with you. Embrace a situation instead of creating resistance. Thank you. Silence. Is it time for great silence in this assembly? Sister. There are 20 minutes left. Voice. 20 minutes left. So, it is perhaps time to remain in agape and in silence, for a quarter of an hour, each in himself, each in the other, beyond each other. So, ABBA Agape, from everywhere. ABBA Agape. Celebration. Silence. May the smile blossom on your lips, may laughter burst forth in your heart, and may your abode of love be from everywhere, in the highest heaven as well as in the deepest part of the earth. Silence. And don't forget that there is no better way to say love, to say I love you, than to laugh. So do not forget to celebrate every day, not as an effort, or asceticism, or practice, but as the truth that is there. It is no longer the call of the light where the injunctions of the light, it is the manifestation of the light that you are, even if you have not yet fully recognized yourself. Blessing. Celebration. Silence. I can only wish you, but this wish has already been confirmed, good life in Agape. We're legion and we all have the same opportunity to celebrate Agape. We have no need to meet at any limit given time, because it is the multiplication of Agape resonances, in every circumstance for everyone, that magnifies the Christic matrix and reveals it to the dazzled world that is still sleeping. Silence. I say to you always, from everywhere, and at all times, as in every dimension, as in every suffering, as in every joy. Agape. Agape. Sisters, Agape. Agape. Sisters, Agape. Through Jean-Luc Ayoun. Les Transformations. Transcription from French. Equip Agape. English translation. LMF.